Tonight on CTV News at 6. Drug bust in Sudbury.
Officers seized $75,000 worth of fentanyl.
2 men from the Greater Toronto area are facing charges. It was a gruesome crime. A jury in North Bay is deliberating the fate of a man accused of second-degree murder. And the focus is on prayer, healing, and reconciliation. 2 relics of saints are making stops in the north.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. A grassroots movement in support of Highways 11 and 17 is gaining momentum. On Saturday, Northerners and their political leaders are gathering in a number of communities, rallying to make those highways safer. CTV's Lydia Chubak has more.
Anyone who travels on Highways 11 and 17 know they're busy with commercial motor vehicles, and in winter, conditions can be hazardous.
Driving on our highway is scary. It's like Russian roulette.
That's Maryse Damour. She lives in Kapuskasing and works as a dog groomer. She says she's saddened by the number of collisions claiming people's lives and came up with the idea to rally for safer highways.
I'm really not into like politics usually. But it's just it's hurting a lot of people, and also we also have to think of the truckers that get stuck on those highways. They don't want to come here. They hate our highway. That's highway for hell.
This rally was organized to bring attention to the conditions on Highway 11, the number of accidents, the number of close calls. I don't know a family who hasn't had a driver with a close call or a close call themselves, or tragically have had much more serious things happen.
The Northern Quarter Chamber of Commerce helped Damour to organize the rally in Kapuskasing. And so far, rallies are also set to take place in Hearst, Fauquier, Timiskaming Shores, and Cochrane.
So this is necessary. It's necessary for folks who live on the highway here to be heard, first and foremost. It's necessary for them to be able to offload some of their concerns. And then it's necessary for us as the regional leaders to be very constructive with that and to work with the province and the folks who make those decisions to have meaningful change.
Will they act? We might have to push harder, and we're certainly willing to. But will they take? They are taking notice.
At Ontario's Rural Leaders Conference this week, the Premier said it's been disturbing to hear of all the accidents in Northern Ontario.
So we're going to continue investing in rural roads and highways, investing like the North has never seen before.
The rallies will take place simultaneously Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Highway 144 was closed last night through the Greater Sudbury community of Dowling after a crash. OPP say the collision was between one of their cruisers and a snowmobile. Our CTV camera capturing the snowmobile in the area. No injuries were reported. The 2-week second-degree murder trial for Brandon Nakaji is nearing completion in a North Bay courtroom. As CTV's Eric Tashner tells us, the jury is now deliberating.
In his final address to the jury, Crown Attorney Michael Cristall alleges 33-year-old Tristan Ayres and another woman, Lizzie Martinez, were huddled by a small fire in an alleyway trying to keep their hands warm in the early hours of December 17th, 2022. He told the jury Nakaji and Trevor Goulet were looking for a smoke and were directed to Ayres. The men told Martinez to leave. Then Goulet attacked Ayres with a stick. The stick broke, and that's when the Crown believes Nakaji felt they weren't winning the fight, pulling out a knife, stabbing Ayres in the back, severing an artery. Ayres went down, his feet flailed, and Nakaji stabbed him in the legs. Cristall says Ayres then crawled over a guardrail into the Worthington Street West's LCBO parking lot, and Ayres bled to death. Graphic photos of Ayres' body showed before the court highlighted 5 stab wounds on Ayres' leg and back. In a police interrogation video played for the jury, Nakaji, who had consumed fentanyl the day of his arrest, confessed to an investigator he wanted to make sure Goulet would not lose the fight and that he didn't know how many times he stabbed Ayres. Nakaji's lawyer, Lori Galway, argued he was just tagging along and there was no plan to assault or kill Ayres. She played security camera footage of the parking lot, which was partially blocked by a vehicle. It showed Nakaji standing by and watching Goulet attack Ayres. In it, Goulet raised his arm in an overhanded motion. This is when the defense claims Goulet actually stabbed Ayres in the back. Galway argues Nakaji only stabbed Ayres in the legs to defend Goulet. Goulet was convicted of manslaughter in 2024 after pleading guilty. In his charge to the jury, Superior Court Justice Greg Ellis reminded them that Goulet's verdict should not be considered when rendering a verdict. He reminded them to be judges of the facts and consider the evidence impartially. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Greater Sudbury police have seized fentanyl and arrested 2 men from the Greater Toronto area. CTV's Alan Everson has more.
Greater Sudbury police released this picture of 750 grams of fentanyl that was pre-weighed and pre-packaged. The drug seizure was part of Project Tilton, which was led by detectives with the Drug Enforcement Unit.
Officers seized $75,000 worth of fentanyl, that is 750 grams, and potentially 7,500 lethal doses of fentanyl that were removed from our streets.
Police arrested 2 men from the GTA after a high-risk vehicle stop on Highway 69 earlier this week. Funding for Project Tilton came from the Ontario government, Ministry of the Solicitor General, in which the Criminal Intelligence Service Ontario supported this investigation.
It was used to purchase equipment used for surveillance for Project Tilton. So through the surveillance equipment, we were able to gather information in relation to the individuals believed to be trafficking drugs in our community.
The Mayor of Sudbury also sits on the Police Services Board and is commending efforts focusing on illicit drugs and dealers.
No, I want to thank our frontline workers at Greater Sudbury Police for the great job that they're doing, certainly to try to stem the flow of fentanyl drugs coming into our community. We know that we're at a cusp of drugs that are coming into our community, and the fact that we have the equipment right now, and certainly we've actually increased the police services to deal with this really challenging times in our society.
Fortunately, we do see organized crime moving into Northern Ontario, as Sudbury is the hub to the north. So traveling through from the 400 to Highway 69 and into our community, where we are seeing illicit drugs as well as organized crime moving through from Southern Ontario.
Greater Sudbury Police say anything that poses a high-risk threat to the community, like illicit drugs or organized crime, will continue to be a focus by disrupting and arresting individuals involved. Alana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
Now to the weather. A little more sunshine today, but the temperature is going to drop like a stone. CTV's Rick Wyman is going to tell us how cold things are going to get. Rick.
Well, you know, Tony, if you happen to be on vacation right now, perhaps in the Dominican Republic or Cuba, you'd say mucho frio in Canada. It is very cold this evening, and continuing cold overnight into tomorrow and tomorrow evening. Systems map as issued by Environment Canada. So the snow leaves. Of course, that means it's a high pressure system that's about to affect Northeastern Ontario, and thus the higher temperatures. And of course, with the wind chill, very, very cold, frostbite and a cold alert as issued by Environment Canada and the various health units. We'll take a look at some of the current temperatures. Not too bad this evening, but then the 7-day forecast with the numbers. Tony?
Thanks so much for that, Rick. More problems for Kashechewan residents still to come on CTV News at 6. Some have a gastrointestinal illness. Right now, though, we're heading to North Bay and Lake Nipissing. This live shot is courtesy of that city. It's minus 11 degrees. We'll return after these brief commercial messages.
Fuel your Fridays with CTV and Pure Country. Enter online for a chance to win a $100 gas gift card. Fuel your Fridays. Powered by CAA. Life isn't one size fits all. Neither is CAA.
The Sudbury chapter of the Canadian Association of Retired Persons met today to learn more on common scams. CTV's Madison Merrier has that story.
Frauds and scams. Do you guys get a lot of phone calls? Yes.
Fraud and scams are present in every community, and it can target every age range. However, some of the most vulnerable to these scams are seniors.
I was here to educate. My focus is really to get people to learn and understand what scammers are doing, how their scammers are working, so that maybe we can protect our older adults, because our older adults are generally the victims.
I believe it's close to 60 to 65,000 of us are over the age of 65. So we're a real target audience for scammers. And it's good that we share these stories where we have been affected by someone who's trying to scam us, and to let others know.
Some of the scams outlined were romance scams, grandparent scams, and lottery scams.
It's constantly happening because they keep trying and they keep being successful on getting people who are vulnerable to give in. They will play on people's fears. They will play on people's sensitivities.
I would say that probably 100% of seniors with either cell phones or landlines or internet connection have been affected by a scam, at least have been, if they haven't lost money themselves, they have been in a situation where they could have.
Scams are always evolving, which makes predicting them very difficult. But Landry recommends removing your name from your voicemail message and not answering unknown numbers.
Scammers will do everything and anything. They will use Facebook to play games on them, to try to get people to give them information.
Landry recommends that families set up emergency passwords to help them combat the rise of artificial intelligence, making scams appear more realistic. Madison Marier, CTV News, Sudbury.
More trouble for Kashechewan First Nation. It's dealing with a water crisis and with cases of gastrointestinal illnesses. It's unclear whether the two are connected. Indigenous Services Canada confirms cases of the parasite known as Cryptosporidium among some Kashechewan residents. It did not say whether those are evacuees or residents still in the remote northern community, but leadership suspects it's both and add there are 34 cases. The Do Not Consume Water Advisory remains in place, and repairs are still underway on the water treatment system. Testing is underway to determine if the gastrointestinal illness was because of the recent infrastructure failure.
I don't think we really did stool samples to really find out what was happening to people until later. I wouldn't say later on, but maybe a few days or a week after the situation with our water plant unfolded. We don't know exactly when it started, but I know the infrastructure was failing and raw sewage was entering the water.
About 460 residents remain in the community, and Wesley says about 60 will be evacuated to Cochrane and Tequah-Tagamu First Nation this week. Others were evacuated to Timmins, Kapuskasing, Kingston, and Niagara Falls. Mechanical issues are to blame for delays with recycling and organics collection in some Greater Sudbury neighborhoods this week. CTV's Angela Gemmel has more.
This street in Sudbury finally gets its recycling and organics picked up 24 hours after residents put their bins to the curb. The City of Greater Sudbury says it is aware some neighborhoods experienced delays with blue box and green cart collection this week. In an email to CTV News, it says these delays are related to unexpected truck breakdowns experienced by WM, which resulted in some routes not being collected on their scheduled day. Crews are working overtime, repairing trucks and bringing in additional trucks to catch up. It was January 1st when new provincial changes came into effect, with the program transferring to producer responsibility. That's when Circular Materials took over the work, using WM or Waste Management as the contractor to collect recyclables. Yet in a statement to CTV News, the producer says extreme weather resulted in minor delays to recycling collection for several households in Greater Sudbury yesterday. Our service provider, Waste Management, has confirmed that delayed recycling collection due to weather conditions will be completed today or tomorrow at the latest. This service alert was posted to its website this morning. The city says it doesn't have a final count on how many households were affected by the delay this week. Roots missed on one day are being collected on the following day, but the city says that's created a domino effect with subsequent roots. All roots are expected to be caught up by Saturday. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
Work is continuing on the connecting link in the city of Timmins. City officials posting this update and drone video to their Facebook page yesterday. According to the post, work on installing the water main at Lawrence Street is now complete. The area still needs asphalt, traffic poles at the Porcupine Mall entrance, and final site approval. The road is expected to be open sometime in February. The relics of Saint Kateri Tekakwitha, the first Indigenous North American saint, and Saint Jean de Brebeuf, one of the Canadian martyrs, are traveling across Northern Ontario. Officials with the pilgrimage tour say its focus is on prayer, healing, and reconciliation. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
Led by the Anishinaabe Spiritual Center and Father John O'Brien of the Martyrs Shrine in Midland, 9 communities across the north get to see these relics up close.
People generally are very grateful. They're just happy to have had the chance to encounter these relics, which are of course the bone fragments of these great figures, kind of our spiritual ancestors who walked the ground in Canada 400 years ago.
From Moosonee to Sudbury, each community event includes a mass and time for personal prayer and veneration.
The opportunity for us to accompany the relics, especially St. Kateri, to remote Indigenous churches would be very important. And churches in general, of course. And it would give us an opportunity because we're a training center for lay ministry, especially Catholic Indigenous lay ministry. So it was an opportunity to meet these other churches to be able to help give support to them.
O'Brien says this is the end of what has been a Cross Canada tour, as the Martyrs Shrine recognizes its 100th anniversary in 2026.
There's a lot of centennial celebrations happening this year, and we extend an open invitation to all Canadians and Ontarians to visit this summer. And it's also the 400th anniversary of those first encounters with the Jesuit missionaries and the Wendat people. So it's kind of a big anniversary year, a good year to make a pilgrimage or a visit to the National Shrine.
For those that can't make it to Midland, there are still stops in Kapuskasing tomorrow, North Bay on Saturday, Sudbury on Sunday, with the relics returning home to the shrine on Monday. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Back now for a check on your current conditions. Once again, here's Rick.
Okay, Tony, let's have a gander at what's happening with our forecast radar. First of all, from Environment Canada, that system moving out, high pressure moving in. And of course, that means some very cold temperatures for tonight, overnight, and continuing all day tomorrow into tomorrow evening. Now your current temperatures. Of course, it's going to be colder with the wind chill after you take a look at some of these numbers. Moosonee minus 19, Cochrane minus 19, Timmins minus 17, and Kapuskasing minus 19, some light precipitation. Chapleau minus 16, Wawa minus 17, and Sault Ste. Marie light snow at minus 14 as well. How about Parry Sound? Light snow minus 7. In North Bay minus 10. Temiskaming Shores minus 11. And Kirkland Lake minus 13. Along Highway 17, Greater Sudbury Nickel Belt minus 11. Minus 12 in Espanola. Minus 14 in Elliott Lake. And Gore Bay minus 12. Okay, cold tonight, Tony. And continuing right through overnight. We'll check out some of those numbers on the 7-day forecast as well as our pick of the day, all coming up.
Thanks so much for that, Rick. In defense of the region, next on CTV News at 6. Canada's Prime Minister says our country will do its part in the Arctic. And the U.S. Secretary of Commerce says Carney's speech in Switzerland was political noise. Donald Trump announced yesterday that the framework for a deal on Greenland had been made. Tonight, we're learning more on what it could include. CTV's Judy Trin has the details.
Canada to really step up.
The framework for negotiating the future of Greenland was drafted in a meeting between the U.S. President and NATO's Secretary General. It could include more American bases and troops on Greenland and drilling rights to critical minerals, all to prevent Russia and China from gaining a foothold in the Arctic.
When it comes to Greenland specifically, their economy, their military situation, Russia and China will never get access.
And the Danes and sovereignty, is that all assured?
We didn't discuss at all about that issue.
The leaders of Denmark and the semi-autonomous territory of Greenland were not part of the discussion. They're not willing to give up their sovereignty.
We have some clear red lines what's been delivered to the president, and nothing about a deal on mineral resources or anything else. But that's something the further discussions that we are willing to take.
You know, NATO cannot just make an agreement with the United States about Greenland. NATO does not have that authority. So we're going to have to see how that plays out.
The framework involves boosting security for the entire Arctic region. There are 8 countries in the Arctic Circle other than Russia. All of them are NATO members. At Davos, the NATO chief met with Mark Carney. The Prime Minister committed to fully participating in the defense of the region. In a readout, Carney emphasized Canada's plan to quadruple defense spending over the next decade with investments in the Arctic, such as over-the-horizon radar, year-round presence on land, sea and air, and new critical infrastructure. Canada currently has about 300 full-time soldiers and 1,700 Canadian Rangers protecting the Arctic, along with 4 military bases. To quadruple defense spending in a decade will require spending about $150 billion annually. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Security and defense are issues at the forefront right now, and today Ukraine's president called out Europe during an address to world leaders following a meeting with Donald Trump.
Just last year, here in Davos, I ended my speech with the words, "Europe needs to know how to defend itself." A year has passed and nothing has changed. We are still in a situation where I must say the same words, but why? The answer is not just about the threats that exist or may appear. Each year brings something new for Europe and for the world.
Volodymyr Zelensky insisted Europe needs to act now and described it as a fragmented group of small and middle powers. The Ukrainian leader says Europe looks lost trying to convince Trump to change instead of taking the lead in defending freedom worldwide. Zelensky discussed security guarantees and a plan for post-war recovery during his meeting with the U.S. president. That speech from Mark Carney in Davos earlier this week is still spurring reaction, including from U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. In his own speech at the forum today, Lutnick had pointed remarks for Carney and what he described as whining from Canada. CTV's Mike LeCouture now on what it could mean for trade and CUSMA negotiations.
Give me a break. They have the second best deal in the world. And all I got to do is listen to this guy whine and complain.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick called the Prime Minister's speech in Davos political noise. Tuesday, Mark Carney urged middle powers to band together against more powerful countries that use economic coercion. Lutnick warned those words will be remembered during this summer's trade review.
They have USMCA, which means 85% of the Canadian economy comes into the United States for zero. And there he is complaining that he's going to go to China and improve it.
Canada's finance minister pushed back on those comments.
Prime Minister said a lot of things that people thought, and he had the courage to say it loud. I think Canadians have understood by now that diversification is key.
Meanwhile, the reverberations of Carney's message continue to be felt with other world leaders.
I think we have a lot of Europeans who are in this first camp of multilateralism, whereas the American administration is driving multipolarity. And we're trying to make these two things meet.
Australia's finance minister called the speech stunning, adding it makes a powerful point about the old world order being done.
So the job for us, the job for our Canadian friends, is to work out
how we can shape all of this change in our own interests.
California Governor and possible Democratic presidential contender Gavin Newsom also praised Carney at Davos for calling out the current state of the world, adding Americans need to do the same. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
According to the Canadian press, Marineland has presented a plan to the federal government to ship the last remaining captive whales and dolphins in Canada to the U.S. The theme park gave Ottawa a deadline to issue export permits, or it will proceed with its backup plan to kill 30 beluga and 4 dolphins. Marineland confirmed in a statement to the Canadian press that it presented a definitive and urgent rescue solution, and if given export permits, the animals will be sent to 4 different institutions within the U.S. A video shows a terrifying moment. A skier dodged a near-fatal incident after triggering an avalanche on an Alberta ski slope.
Oh, avalanche, avalanche, avalanche.
The slide occurred Tuesday at Lake Louise Ski Resort. It was categorized by Avalanche Canada as a size 2 with potential to bury, injure, or kill a person. Parks Canada says the skier was carried to the bottom of the mountain, buried up to their waist, then lost both skis, but was otherwise uninjured. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Tony, the perils of skiing at times. You never know what can happen. I've got a great pick to show you in just a couple of minutes, pick of the day, about snow and just how much snow has fallen in some parts of, Northeastern Ontario, in particular, Sault Ste. Marie. Forecast radar first and foremost. Here's the system with the majority of the precipitation leaving. Now we'll get some sunshine, but some colder temperatures over the course of the next couple of days. Let's check out some of the numbers now for overnight in Greater Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, Temiskaming Shores, and North Bay. 5 to 10 centimeters in Sault Ste. Marie. They've had a lot of snow for today. 2 to 4 in Temiskaming Shores, and more of the same in North Bay. Meanwhile, Moosonee, wind chill factor, of course, very high. Caphurst, again, minus 42. Wawa, a couple of centimeters of snow. Gore Bay, 10 centimeters. And Parry Sound, 5 to 10 for this evening, but colder with the wind chill this evening. Sudbury Nickel Belt, wind chill, minus 37 for tomorrow. You've got some flurry activity, some sunny breaks and some clouds. Saturday, sunshine. Sunday, some cloud cover. Monday, Tuesday, chance of flurries as it begins to warm up. Minus 12 both days to kick off the week. Minus 15 Wednesday, sun and cloud. In the Sioux and Algoma, a bit of a break from the flurries and squalls. Minus 32 tomorrow. A chance of flurries on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Flurries and squalls, but of course not so bad for a couple of days. Minus 13 Saturday, Sunday, minus 10 and 11 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, minus 12 degrees. Different story in Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing with the temperatures and the conditions. Minus 36 tomorrow, some sunny skies on Saturday, sun and cloud Sunday and Monday. Tuesday, chance of flurries. Wednesday, sun and cloud, but some nasty overnight temperatures. Minus 32 Friday and Saturday to kickstart the weekend. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, minus 39 tomorrow, minus 32, minus 33 overnight as well. Saturday, some sunshine, minus 21. Sunshine on, no sunshine on Sunday. Cloud cover. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, chance of a flurry. Here comes the sun. On Wednesday, sun and cloud warming up to about minus 16 degrees. And in North Bay, West Nipissing, wind chill minus 34 for tomorrow. Sunny skies on Saturday, cloud cover Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, chance of flurries both days on the warm-up. Minus 12, minus 11. Wednesday, we've got some sun and clouds. So you're seeing all these temperatures. And again, your normals right across the Northeast should be minus 7, minus 8, and minus 9. Not even close to what they should be. Let's have a look at this great pick of the day. Rose Russo. Rose, love it. How much snow, you ask, in Sault Ste. Marie? Rose, I'm thinking that's got to be maybe 6 feet at least, possibly even 7 in some sectors, but it's a great place to store the snow. And I know you've had a lot so far this winter. Take a look at the roof. Rose, great pick. Thank you so much for informing the rest of Northeastern Ontario just how much snow the Sioux has received so far. Stick around. We've got more news coming up after the break.
There's been a steady decline of Canadians traveling to the U.S., mainly because of negative feelings towards the Trump administration. While President Trump has said Americans don't need Canadian products, some U.S. resorts say they want Canadian tourists to return. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
A U.S. report found that in 2024, Canadian tourism contributed more than $20 billion to the U.S. economy and supported 140,000 American jobs. But as many Canadians refuse to travel to the U.S., the hospitality industry is hurting. That's especially true in Las Vegas.
There's all the hotels behind me. They all want Canada to come back just as much as I do.
Derek Stevens, the CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, the D Las Vegas, and the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino, is taking a gamble that some Canadians will come back with a dollar-for-dollar deal.
We miss Canadians. And for me personally, I grew up in a border town of Detroit and Windsor. And I got to see how close we really all were.
Stevens says at his resorts, Canadians will get a financial break until August 31st with the At Par program. Canadian guests will receive $1 U.S. in value for every Canadian dollar spent, regardless of the daily exchange rate.
I want to make sure that Canadians know you still have a lot of friends in America.
I understand why they're doing it. It's been really hard on American tour operators, the loss of the Canadian visitor.
Lauren Christie says he's not surprised Las Vegas casinos want to roll the dice on an idea to get Canadians back, but he questions if it will be enough.
I'm not sure that it's going to have much of effect. It may entice a few people going down, but anecdotally, from what I hear, people are just not interested in going to the United States this year.
Stevens says along with hotel charges being at par with the U.S. dollar, Canadians will be able to redeem up to $500 in slot promotional play, as well as get deals on drinks. He's hopeful some Canadians will make the trip.
I could say there's a lot of Americans that hope that some of the rhetoric dies down and we get back to being what we really are, allies and best friends.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
With expected temperatures to be bitterly cold, medical experts say it's important to be aware of the risk of frostbite. CTV's Pauline Chan reports.
When the wind chill dips below -30, the risk of frostbite goes up.
And I got contacted probably within the last 2 days about 6 times about frostbites already. And some of them were significant.
Dr. Mark Yeshke's big worry is the unhoused who are exposed for a prolonged time.
At the beginning, you feel numb, you have some pain, but then, as you know, as the tissue damage progresses, your pain goes usually away. And people are like, oh, I'm fine, I'm okay, but then they don't realize that it just gets worse and worse.
Hamilton Health Sciences has a video on how to avoid frostbite. Layer up, especially your head and neck, and protect your feet and hands. And while some suggest warm water, Dr. Yeshke prefers other methods to warm up the hands and feet.
Go somewhere warm, layer up, massage gently, rub gently, bring the blood flow back, move your hands, move your body, get the circulation going.
A new drug approved in Canada in 2024 is also available for severe cases.
It dilates the blood vessels and makes sure there is more blood flow to the area that is affected by the frostbite.
But there is a downside. It has to be used within 72 hours, and it can cause a dangerously fast heartbeat, so its use must be monitored.
Discolorization, right? And your fingers remain white or get blue and all of a sudden have some blisters, have some changes on your toes, you should see medical attention.
As for how long you can stay outside, Dr. Yeshke says go inside as soon as you start to feel numb or uncomfortable and use your common sense. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The series was filmed in Sudbury, still ahead on CTV News at 6. So we catch up with one of the stars of Shoresy. We talk about her character and the series being renewed.
Clothing provided by Laura, Melanie Lynn.
It's a popular show with season 5 now underway. It deals with hockey and it was filmed in Sudbury. Shoresy is a hit on Bell's streaming service Crave, and one of the stars of the show, Tasia Tellis, now joins us. Hi there, Tasia. Welcome.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
So you play Nat on the show, and you are also the owner and manager of the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs. How has your character evolved over the years?
Well, I think you see her when you meet her in season 1. She doesn't really have any confidence in her ability as a leader, as a manager and owner of the team, and you know, she's ready to fold. She's like, guys, we're not doing well. No one watches a struggling hockey team. I don't know how to fix this. And then her and Shoresy come together, and through their really, you know, interesting dynamic, they are able to rebuild the team back into success. So, you know, she really has grown over the years, and she's become a confident leader.
As an actress, how do you develop that comedic timing? You know, the rhythm. Is it something you get better at by being immersed in it?
Definitely, 100%. I mean, as soon as I started on the show of Shoresy, I immediately went into train in comedy classes and really wanted to lean into that so I could start to really understand the rhythm. Because interestingly, comedy's like math. You know, there's always a little bit of a setup. There's always a little bit of a rhythm. So I really wanted to make sure that I could live in the world of comedy with these guys. Yeah.
What is the biggest challenge for you, or where would you like your character to go?
Oh, I mean, the things that started as challenges on the show became like any muscle that you work really easy. There was like working on the comedy and then working on the pace and the rhythm. And we shoot quite a bit in one day, so we can go through pages and pages of dialogue. So just getting behind the technique of how to film this show was, you know, a little tough at first, but now it's super easy. Where I want Nat to go in the show, I mean, I want Nat to have a little bit more fun. She's so absorbed in making sure that this team is successful and plugged into the community. I want to see her enjoy it more, enjoy the success more herself.
And Shoresy is coming back, I understand, for season 6. How exciting is that?
Oh my God, it's so exciting. We're such a family now. It's such a great team. I just adore going to work with these guys.
Well, thanks for all your time and continued success.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
You too. Actra Tassia Tellis was our guest. And to learn more about Shoresy, don't forget, head to crave.ca. A new pilot project is getting underway at the Queen's Athletic Skating Oval in Sudbury. The city is offering free skate and helmet rentals to residents on Saturdays between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. The Skate Share program will be operating until the oval closes for the season mid-March if weather permits. It was Bell Let's Talk night down at GFL Memorial Gardens in the Soo. A great night to celebrate mental health and a great night to celebrate the Soo Greyhounds, and one of the Soo's newest players did one of the rarest of feats. Take a look.
Rustevich shoots the puck in. George out of the net. Shoots it up for Boers, down the ice and into the net. Carter George scores!
Yes, that is Soo netminder and Team Canada star goalie Carter George, of all people, finding the back of the net to get a goalie goal. Is coming almost 1 year to the day from the team's last goalie goal with Nolan Lalonde. George and the boys clearly pumped up there. The Hounds finished with a 5-2 victory over the London Knights. On deck tonight, the North Bay Battalion play host to the Brantford Bulldogs. Game time is 7 p.m. And in the NOJHL, the Pawson Voodoos faced off against the Hearst Lumberjacks last night. It was a back-and-forth game until the third when Hearst would control the scoring. They win 5-4. Tonight, the Kirkland Lake Gold Miners will be digging for 2 points, trying to secure a playoff spot. It'll be no easy feat as they take on the Greater Sudbury Cubs at Countryside Arena. Puck drop is 7:10. Exciting news for a biathlete from Thessalon. Shiloh Russo announced on social media today she's heading to Milano Cortina. Russo competed at the World Cup circuit in Germany recently, where she finished 21st in the pursuit and 26th in the sprint. This will be her first Olympic Games. Congratulations to Shiloh and best of luck at the Games. It was a big day for Hollywood as the Oscar nominations were announced. Some were expected, others were a surprise, and a few were Canadian. CTV's Andrea Case reports.
Sinners, the vampire horror box office hit, was released way back in April. It received 16 Academy Award nominations, the most ever in the Academy's 98-year history. Nominations include 3 for Ryan Coogler, Best Director, Best Picture, and Best Screenplay. On the film's acting side, a Best Acting nod to Michael B. Jordan, Best Supporting Actor for Delroy Lindo, and Best Supporting Actress Wunmi Masaku. If there's a film which can give Sinners a run for its money, that film is one battle after another. It garnered 13 nominations, including Best Director and Best Film for Paul Thomas Anderson. He's been nominated 11 times and never won one yet. His cast, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, and Tiana Taylor, were all nominees, but no nomination for Chase Infinity. Locally, made in Toronto, Frankenstein received numerous nominations, including Jacob Elordi, who played the monster, and Toronto producer J. Miles Dale in the Best Film category. And the wild ride continues for Toronto's Maggie Kang, whose K-pop Demon Hunters was nominated in the Best Animated Film category, and Golden was nominated for Best Original Song. 11 actors are first-time nominees, including from the film Sentimental Value, Stellan Skarsgård, Renata Rintsev, Inga Ibsdottir Lilius, and Elle Fanning. Sentimental Value received 9 nominations, as did Marty Supreme, giving star Timothée Chalamet his second Best Actor nomination in 2 years. You also heard his name called as a producer on the film. Rounding out the Best Film list, Bugonia, F1, Hamnet, The Secret Agent, and Train Dreams. Comedian Conan O'Brien will host the 98th Academy Awards on March 15th. You can watch them right here on CTV. CTV's division of Bell Media.
Famed director Ang Lee gets a prestigious award. David Daniel has that story and more in tonight's Hollywood Report.
Kristen Bell is back in the spotlight. The performer is set to host this year's The Actor Awards, previously known as the SAG Awards. It'll be Bell's third time hosting the show. The Actor Awards stream live on Netflix March 1st. Film editors appreciate Ang Lee. The Oscar-winning director of Brokeback Mountain and Life of Pi is this year's recipient of the American Cinema Editors Filmmaker of the Year Award. He'll be honored at the 76th Annual Ace Eddie Awards, February 27th in Los Angeles.
I get it. He's a talented athlete.
He's a cocky idiot. Besides, you already have a partner.
I always imagined we'd be doing this together. Now I want you to lose.
The 3 daughters of a figure skating dynasty are at the center of Finding Her Edge. Competition, attraction, and commitment to family collide in the series, which takes the ice today on Netflix. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Thunder Bay Pulp and Paper has announced it's stopping production of Newsprint. The Newsprint production will end sometime in the first quarter, joining Espanola, Terrace Bay, and others that have shut down similar operations. The company blames a uniquely large drop in demand, noting that North American newsprint use has plummeted 40% since 2022. 150 jobs will be cut, a loss that Thunder Bay's MPP calls disappointing.
They looked at their operations and their business, and unfortunately felt they had to make this decision. As they said in their release, was an insurmountable impact on their business operations. So they're taking the actions. My conversations with them to really focus on the craft portion of the operations, and then we'll continue to work with them moving forward on any new opportunities that may be available to them.
Despite layoffs coming, the company says it has a long history in Thunder Bay and has no plans to leave the area. Thunder Bay Pulp and Paper will be working with the government to make new investments in the softwood craft pulp mill in the coming months. Canadian company Power Sustainable Lias announced it's buying Parry Sound-based Crofter's Organic. Crofter's Organic is the largest supplier of organic jams, jellies, and spreads in North America. Power Sustainable Lias, with co-investments from Farm Credit Canada, BMO Capital Partners, and the family behind the Crofters, will expand the Parry Sound operation. The shared investment consortium ensures Crofters remains a Canadian-owned company and long-term investment in its Parry Sound operations. A federal court has ruled on an order that demanded TikTok stop operating in Canada. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has more.
Don't panic. TikTok will keep entertaining Canadians, at least for now. A judge has shelved the order that demanded the social media company wind down its Canadian operation. There were security concerns about the parent company's links to the Chinese government. But there will be a new national security review of the company. TikTok says it has 14 million users in Canada. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 72.53. West Texas Intermediate down over $1 to 59.36. Western Canadian Select up just a bit to 45.43. And the TSX gained 151 points to close back above 33,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $3.66, closing the day at $49.40.22 U.S. an ounce. Silver up 31 cents to end the day at $96.49. Copper slipped 13 cents to $5.77, and nickel down 4 cents, ending the day at $8.08 U.S. a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Friday weather.
Well, Tony, yes, it will be a cold night tonight and overnight, but it will be cold, equally cold tomorrow. Minus 37 with the wind chill in Greater Sudbury. Timmins minus 43 to kickstart the day. Sault Ste. Marie at minus 32. So again, minus 22. So again, very cold temperatures in and around Northeastern Ontario. Minus 34 in North Bay, Parry Sound, minus 32, and minus 38 in Temiskaming Shores. So again, bundle up this evening, overnight, and continuing into tomorrow and tomorrow evening. And we should get a break in terms of conditions and wind chill and temperatures and pretty well everything else, Tony, by Saturday.
Good to hear. Thanks so much for that, Rick. And finally, the stars of the popular Canadian hockey drama Heated Rivalry are headed to the Olympics. Hudson Williams and Connor Story will be among the torchbearers carrying the Olympic flame for the Milano Cortina Games in February. Williams plays Shane Hollander, and Story plays Ilya Rozanov in the Crave-produced show. The characters are two of the best hockey players in the world and rivals on the ice who struggle to contain their feelings for each other off it. Crave is a streaming service of Bell Media. And folks, that's it for CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. Thanks so much for watching. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Ian Campbell. Good night.